Hey, welcome to the second part of our episode with Kelly Oubre Sr., father of Golden State Warriors guard Kelly Oubre Jr., and founder of Beast Developmental, which again is a solutions-based program based around helping all of us athletes make it to the next level of our lives, whether it be in sports or in business. If you haven't already watched part one, please go back and do that. If you have, thanks for coming back for part two. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And yeah, let's get into part two of our conversation. So you talked a little bit about, Kelly traveling a lot, throughout high school, but, of course he always came home, but I know there's an interesting story behind you deciding that it's best for him to go away his senior year, playing prep school.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear that. I know Jared and I talk about it all the time. We know a few people that we grew up playing with, and once they went away for high school, the stock went crazy. So can you talk a bit about like why you chose to allow him to go away? I know that was tough for you both. So yeah, could you just touch on that a bit?
Well, strangely enough, I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm not going to try to use names. I'll just use hypotheticals. Mm-hmm. All right. We got to Houston. My thing was, okay, where the hot dudes at? What they call the hot dudes in 4th, 5th grade. Mm-hmm. So we went to a workout where two of the hot dudes who happened to be twins were, and their daddy coached their team. And I talked to the dad. He says, we don't have a spot for you on this team, with all due respect, but you can go play for our baby team across town. Like, all right, cool. Once again, swallowed that big old ego, swallowed that pride. Okay, I'll take that bone because I know what that's going to lead to. I'm painting a picture here, so bear with me, all right? Mm-hmm. I know what that was going to lead to. Now, these guys were a year older than Kelly, which I totally respected. I mean, the dad was he didn't know Kelly from a can of paint. He didn't know me, and he wasn't obligated in any way, shape, or form. And I appreciate him every day as a father going through this process also and trying to operate in the best interest of his son. So there's no shade. Mm-hmm. And, somebody took a soundbite recently saying, Mr. Oubre says he's not LeVar Ball. Well, let me tell you something. I have nothing but kudos and great respect for Mr. Ball. I don't know him enough to call him LeVar. He's Mr. Ball and I'm Mr. Oubre. Mm-hmm. He's a daddy and I'm a daddy. So we took that situation. We went to the baby team across town and Kelly did well. Okay. And he graduated. He grew up in the ranks. Now, fast forward to high school, he sees those same two kids again on an opposing team. Problem is, partner, I'm 6'7", you 6'6". Mm-hmm. And I've been grinding on the Chitlin circuit. Y'all dad have been coaching y'all the whole time. And I ain't scared because I've been punched in the mouth and I know it ain't gonna kill me. So y'all got 5-star status and I'm a young puppy coming for y'all next. So let's get down to they segue out. They were his competition. I love those kids. They're great kids, great young men. They go off to college. Kelly's senior year, we got a decision to make because he already done ripped up Peace Jam for the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. Daddy, I could stay here in Houston and drop 50 a night. I said, no, you can't. You can go to Finlay Prep and get in that incubator and play against the Australian Institute of Sports and the Chinese nationals that nobody ever saw or heard of, or the Canadian nationals. And you can humble yourself and be ready for next year when you commit to a college. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I know. I say once again, just ride with me on this. I asked you to ride with me in 4th grade and stick it out. I need you to ride with me on this because let me work. All right. Let me work. All right. So I called a friend of mine who was coaching prep school. Says, yeah, I'm thinking about taking that job. I says, well, talk to your people. Let them know Oubre is on the way if you get the job. Okay. That helped a lot. I'm not saying that was determined. I'm not saying that was the determining factor of the guy getting the job. I'm not saying that. So I'm not trying to take credit for something that had nothing to do with it. All right. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, because that was the best viable option. I searched around with prep schools and I saw that was one that had pros come out of there before and was beneficial to Kelly's situation. I can't speak for anybody else. So committed, went there under the pretense that he's not coming there to get recruited. Okay. Because at that point, the year before, all the major players were showing up at his high school in Houston to watch them practice. That was the protocol. You got to watch them practice first before you approach the parent or make an offer or whatever, because it wasn't time yet for that. So because you could only commit there was only periods that you could make a firm commitment to a college. Therefore, the coaches had to do their recruiting visits too with the parent and the athlete. So I noticed that the high school that he was going to, there was a strange thing going on that a lot of the kids from that high school or under that coach at the time were gravitating towards the University of Texas for some strange reason.
Strange reason.
So I wasn't the helicopter dad, but I was in tune to the game, and I knew the benefits of the summer ball or AAU circuit as opposed to the high school situations.
Mm-hmm.
So, I noticed that arrogance was overtaking the coach, like he had a connect inside certain situations.
Mm.
Well, partner, I'm a trusted advisor.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna outwork me because that's my son right there. So whatever you thought you was gonna get off of that deal, let's try again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna let you find out on the internet that your prize recruit or your prize bull just jumped states.
Mm.
And the McDonald's All-American conversation, because y'all had taken 5 out of Texas the year before, and y'all didn't know if y'all was gonna take 5 that year.
Mm.
Let me guess who would be the odd man out other than the kid that ain't from Texas anyway.
Yep.
So let me fix y'all up for that one too. And I'm gonna let him go to Nevada and be the #1 kid in Nevada. So it's a shoo-in for McDonald's All-American too.
Ooh.
Let me work, all right? So, so that little game y'all playing, see, they play chess, they play checkers, I play Jenga.
Mm.
All right, and you know what happens in Jenga. One wrong move and it's a wrap, Captain.
Mm.
So, and like I said, I have nothing but respect for everyone in this process.
Mm.
That coach, previous coaches, any coach along the way at every level, because I understand it's a hard job. And sometimes, you got to answer the red phone in the corner because of your past dealings. But if I know that as a trusted advisor, and I know my power as a trusted advisor, I am totally in control of my decision making for all the right reasons. And those decisions have to be beneficial to my young diamond.
Mm.
If they're not, I'm just like everybody else. I turn into a justifier very quickly.
Sure.
So that's the story behind Finlay Prep. And he gets there, he's not really recruited because we take one official visit. You get 5 visits.
Yep.
We take one official visit. Kelly flies in from Finlay to Kansas. We look around at late night in the fog. He has to go to USA Basketball the next morning at 6 in Colorado. I said, go ahead. We'll talk Tuesday when you get back to Finlay. I talked to him Tuesday. I says, what do you think? He said, no, Pop, what do you think?
Mm.
I said, quite frankly, son, I've seen all I need to see, and those 4 other visits don't mean anything to me.
Mm.
I don't want to go eat somebody's food at their college and do the dance if I don't need to or I don't have to.
Mm.
We're not like that in this house. We don't use people. Okay? We're not going to go and play the game and do the dance just to put on the internet, Oubre is making all these visits and he can't decide until the 11th hour. I told him, I've seen all I needed to see. And I'll elaborate more on that in the book. And because what I'm trying to do right now is I want to be respectful of all the parties involved, because I think, we really don't know as trusted advisors that the integral parts that are going on behind the scenes when we're not around. All we know is what's in our immediate realm as it pertains to our young diamonds.
Right.
So let's be respectful of all parties involved, all coaches involved. And I don't know. I like it that way because it garners my respect in this situation also.
So how was it, I guess, balancing, being a father and training your son and also being, that trusted advisor as well? How did you balance, everything?
And I'm gonna give, his mom says I don't give her enough credit when I do interviews. But I'm gonna give her the utmost credit right now, because I'm sure she's gonna troll me on this, and she trolls everything. And that's fine. I'm gonna give her all the credit because she let me work. So I think, just looking at this thing in retrospect, I think being in the moment constantly, always, looking in the mirror and being able to shave in the morning, knowing I did the right thing, and not compromising or wavering in my principles. And I do get emotional because I know the road traveled and what went into the road traveled. I mean, the everyday portions of the road travel. The fact that I didn't realize Kelly was growing up right behind me while I was cooking dinner until he came up behind me one day. And I didn't look down anymore. I looked up.
Mm-hmm.
That was the funniest thing in the world. I was so busy working 2, 3, 4 jobs, hustling, trying to keep it popping, knowing that I couldn't take the trip on the weekend, dropping him off at the airport, crying, literally pulling up after he putting on a good face for it, literally bawling on the way back home, because I knew I had to go through this process to let him go so he could see the world was round and not flat. And he would be open to the possibility of going to college out of state one day and graduating into the professional level and being ready for the moment, because he was battle tested. He was battle scarred. And the scar tissue was hard enough that whatever else would try to penetrate his armor wouldn't work. Because there's a reason why a lot of these guys take a picture and they're not smiling, because they've been kicked in the behind so much along the way. They've been used. They've been compromised by other people so many times that eventually they woke up and said, you know what? I'm the product here. I'm the product here. And, it would help for our young athletes, our young diamonds, to have trusted advisors to explain to them every step of these situations so they can be better for these experiences. So their scar tissue and their skin can be very thick when it comes down to money-making time. So, hopefully they can control their image and likeness to the best of their ability, and they can control their surroundings with their trusted advisors, and they can keep a skinny team in a tight circle.
Wow, man. Oh man, this is good stuff, man. This is. I can't wait to go back and listen to everything.
Like I said, I apologize for cursing one time. I told myself I wasn't going to curse, but I cursed once, but I didn't cry, so I'm good.
One for one.
I'm good. So,
yep. But let's talk about Kelly. Being drafted into the league, and the advice you have for parents, whose kids are making that transition into the NBA. What advice do you have for them? I know you hit on it a little bit about having your trusted advisors, but what else goes into that?
Well, I think it's about our parents, our trusted advisors, studying our young diamond's personality. Everybody's different. How they process things is different. I think we have, as trusted advisors, must differentiate our approach and how we communicate. We can't be Jurassic. It can't be, it's my way or the highway, when he's 6'7", getting his behind kissed everywhere he goes. It's okay. Yeah, daddy, you just put in a 60-hour week shift, and there's a tournament on the weekend, and he's having a bad game, so the you the man speech ain't working no more. I think it's time for you to differentiate your approach and lock into his personality. You can stroke a little ego. You might want, stop for lunch. You might want to bring him back to center. Maybe an anecdote from his childhood, or 2 anecdotes. Less heavy-handed approach, more of a mental approach. Hence the word beast developmental. More of an approach that's beneficial for you, not only in a moment, but will be beneficial in days, months, years to come, as another reference point to piggyback on the last reference point about the point you just made. Right. Hey, remember this day? Remember this day? On this day. So it's a gradual build. It's a gradual pillars being established here in your empire as a unit. So as a clarifier, as a trusted advisor, what you want to do is you want to constantly lay foundations based on solid foundations. And if you have that, keep in mind, this is rarefied air. Nobody else can approach this young athlete with, because they won't, because justifiers won't know how to approach these situations because they don't know about the tough times.
Right.
And what I say about that, to your point on draft night, man, I had so many people waiting at the finish line who didn't give a damn 2 days earlier. Could have cared less 2 days earlier, but everybody wanted to take a picture with, promote the last name, or be a part of that know damn well they was trying to throw salt in the game, or they weren't acknowledging the fact that he was on TV 7 times his high school year playing basketball. And until the pundits on the various networks started talking about the potential pro that they were watching, they realized that their spidey senses went off and their antennas went up, or their ears went up, and they realized, I better get on this train. But it's kind of hard to hold on to a train that's going 100 miles an hour. That's inevitably going to go to 120 miles an hour and 200 miles an hour and not lose your arm in the process. So I'm looking at a lot of armless people around me right now. I'm looking at a lot of people still trying to this day, 6 years removed from draft day, trying to figure out how we going to get in, how we going to fit in this, how we going to bring up a conversation about something other than the weather or the Saints. I love my people, man. I really do. But what I wish, and I would always try to strengthen my people in, was, this is a business, and I would love for you guys to get in early and approach it as a business and get educated enough to understand it. I swim with orcas. Orcas kill great whites. They tip them. They put them in a catatonic state. They turn them over, and they devour them. They play with them before they kill them. So, honestly, just looking at it in retrospect, like I said, I have nothing but respect for those around me, but I kind of wish sometimes that, I wish I had more individuals around me that I could really refer back to those early days in my life too, that could bring me back to center. But I had to realize that, you have to be conditioned into this. You just can't show up on this day in which you thought you had time to get to. Because it moves so fast, the dynamics change, and before you know it, you're being used by an outside entity, a justifier who's masked themselves as your best friend in the last 2 years. You just were too silly to realize they noticed something was about to happen and you didn't notice it. So, I refer to the Hegelian dialectic. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
I don't.
The Hegelian dialectic means if I set the stage for you, and I create a problem, and you walk in and I solve the problem right there in your face, and I never let you forget that I solved the problem for you, and I never tell you that I created the problem that I solved for you, I forever have you in my debt now, don't I?
Yep.
So you're gonna owe me, and I set you up the whole time. So, my son's fascinated by, that analogy, because he plays it back in his mind so many times that I wonder if this is when, so I want y'all to do the same thing. So think about that when you approach these conversations.
I was literally just doing it in my head. That's very interesting.
But I have my little Machiavellian principles, and I study styles, guys. I've always been that way since I was a little boy. I sit back in the cut and I just study styles, and I do deductive reasoning. I don't ask a lot of how and why questions. I can't say I don't. I don't want to say I don't ask any. I don't ask a lot. But when I do ask them, I ask them to myself, because I have this computer right here. I can find my own answers before I ask a lot of questions, and then I can draw a fine line between what the real answer is and what was some smoke. So, let's tap into modern technology.
Then let's dive into Beast Development, man. I know it's your baby, man. I know it's
Beast Developmental.
Beast Developmental. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm playing. I'm playing. Calm down, Jerry.
What's your overall goal? For the listeners listening, that might not know about it. What's your overall goal with it? And what inspired you to create it?
My overall goal. Well, first of all, my son was the inspiration to create it. I think. Beast Developmental is a wordplay. It's a personification. Personification is giving human-like characteristics to animals. If I put that in reverse, it's like giving animalistic characteristics to humans. Okay. You may hear references to young athletes like, "Oh, he's a beast. He's a monster. He's beastie. He's a stud. He's all these animalistic characteristics. He's a horse. He's a hoss. Whatever they call it." So I just did wordplay. 20 plus years ago, I figured, okay, let me play on these words. Let me grow this concept. My son, I'm going to raise him in this way. And, you know, at some point, you know, early in his life, what I did was I went to WebMD and I did a height predictor. You know, you can go to that, and I plugged in the information, your age, your mom's age, his mom's age, your height, her height, and he came back at 6'7", right? But I didn't tell anybody. That was my little secret. I didn't tell anybody. So I figured, okay. So at some point he's gonna hit a growth spurt. All right. But you know, going through Houston, going through the ranks, he kind of hit a growth spurt going from 8th to 9th grade. And you know, he was ready for it because he was a lefty. I had trained him. And I used to coach him in middle school at 6 a.m. And he used to hate me for it because we had this drill where he would dribble to half court, turn around at the cones, and attack the defense who were trailing him. Problem was everybody else was going against one defender because it was a private school. And shout out to my kids. I love them. They weren't really athletes, but you know what, though? It was good they had to participate. I think I had a 20-man team. And everybody wanted playing time. So, you know, I'm like, I promise their parents they will play. I can assure you so y'all can come to every game and get your phones ready. But Kelly was going against him every morning, so I would have him go 1-on-3. I cut off half the court. He'd have to attack on the left. He'd have to attack on the right side because he was left-handed. So I kind of put them on defense so they could stop him and put him on offense so he could attack them. But it was just little things like that along the way. Okay, so I think it's the obstacles as a trusted advisors that we're in a position to put in front of our kids without breaking them, and to even put in perspective the obstacles that they will face naturally anyway in being there when they have to rationalize when coach is not feeling them, or they think he's not, or they're at the end of the bench, or they're making bad grades, or everything is not going so well, and they're looking for answers. Well, answers aren't promised to us a lot of the times. And I think that's the role of a trusted advisor to assist them in gravitating through all the waters. So hence Beast Developmental tied in with my Lean Six Sigma principles. Lean Six Sigma was a mechanism used at W.W. Granger when I was early 90s. Kelly was born. I was working at Granger and I was working at UPS. And Granger was an industrial equipment corporation. I worked at full-time and I was working at UPS part-time before I went driving. And I was in the Lean Six Sigma program, which was product management. It was almost like, in a nutshell, for every 1,000 widgets, if you will, a company would produce, they would minimize the number of defective widgets as close to zero as possible. So it worked in a lot of your Japanese companies, your automotive industry companies operated like this because they were trying to get as close to perfection as possible.
Right.
So I threw that in my gumbo pot. How can I get it as close to perfection as possible? I threw in my UPS 13 years, 7 years as a driver, 6 years part-time, preload, unload, whatever they needed. I was hustling. Whatever they needed. Kelly was a puppy. I'm just grinding. Whatever they need, all that's going into the gumbo pot. UPS experience, Granger experience, Lean Six Sigma experience, and whatever experiences, business degree experience, approaches, styles, Machiavellian principles, 48 laws of power experiences, everything in the gumbo pot. I mean, okay. I mean, how you want it? I mean, what angle do you want it from? I got 3 approaches. I mean, frontal, flanked, and fragmented. How you want it?
Well equipped.
Well equipped, as best I could be by my own hand, though. Not out there asking people for favors, compromising myself. Can you hook a brother up? No, bro. I'm good. I'm good. I know what a pound of lunch meat is and a loaf of bread. I'm good, dog. You know, I'm just gonna play the cut right here and study your styles.
1,000%.
So yeah. So I mean, we all got to develop our own blueprint, guys.
Yep.
And I think Beast Developmental is designed for that. To have parents design a blueprint that benefits them and their young diamond, whereas the young diamond can see a pattern of consistency by the Beast Developmental family. The family means myself, my team, in a support mechanism, and their trusted advisor and themselves. At the bottom of our logo is the peers. Peers are your competition. Okay. You want to be over or better than your competition at all times. I don't care if it's throwing rocks. I don't care if it's volleyball, football, but you want to be better than your peers. That's why I have peers at the bottom of my logo, because I want the diamond to be always positioned over the peers.
Mhm.
The left side of my logo, you have the governing body. A governing body is your high school districts. Whoever sets the rules and the laws you have to play by. That's a given. The NBA, the NCAA, there are rules that you have to play by. They govern whether you'll be reprimanded or you'll have accolades presented to you. So we cannot ignore these factors. So I got Beast Developmental on top as a unit, like a hovering over like a drone, if you will, looking at all the entities that affect the young diamond in the middle. Trusted advisors on the left side, okay? That's the support system tied to Beast Developmental for the young diamond. I got the peers as motivation at the bottom, and I got the governing body coming up the left side. My young diamond is surrounded by very thick walls. If you look at my logo, because I want him to feel like that's his empire, that's his castle, and those walls can't be penetrated. With Beast Developmental overseeing everything as a unit with my team and his trusted advisor, always there to call on us whenever they need us, along with the young diamond, knowing that we're going to have the same talk track, and we will break things down or clarify it 1,000,000 times if we need it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. And the success of your son, Kelly, is I mean, it's there. Like, this information is it works.
He is Beast Developmental. He is a personification of Beast Developmental in good times and in bad, guys.
Sure. And I think we see it, even just watch him on the court. He's one of those players
Exactly.
that they're going hard every game,
year.
every play, regardless of what's going on. Like, that's apparent. And honestly, having this conversation with you just gave all the information into like why he is that way. So it all makes sense.
Put it in perspective for sure.
Well, I'm glad, guys. We just want to do it respectfully with perspective.
Right.
And and I that's why I love, and I'm here to support y'all's platform too, because I want y'all to help get the word out. That's why we're here. We're not throwing anybody under the bus. We're respecting every entity in this game that we've all grown to know and love, that can benefit so many people in so many ways and open up so many doors into so many new doors, and even the offshoots of this as you graduate. The pros are not the end of your road. Coaching, training, sports management, the medical profession, sports legal, financial advisors, agents. It's just so many things that can come from this. Whereas you young men can still be a part of the game. As not just players, but just active participants making a career and building a resume. And you already have deep down inside that when you start producing offspring, you will gradually grow into what we call a trusted advisor naturally, because you're going to realize the power you have to influence their lives for the rest of it, the rest of yours and the rest of theirs. And to have the knowledge and look at it that way from a position of power gives you a leg up on, not only the unknown, but it gives you a leg up on the possibilities. So let's embrace that as Beast Developmental. And that's what I want. That's what I want my trusted advisors to know, that we are here and we are ready. I want to build an army of trusted advisors, proven men, proven women who see value in their position for the right reasons, not a compromised false value. What they call it, a false positive. No, we don't. Let that be for the testers. We're gonna do the positive over here.
Gotcha.
Clean hands, baby. Clean hands. So that's it. That's it, guys.
But we talked to Everest a little bit about this, off air or whatever. But you got a book coming out. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What else are you working up or cooking up? In the gumbo pot or whatever.
Well, man, we're getting presented with opportunities in the corporate setting, also, not just in the basketball space, and ready for that too, because the principles of Beast Developmental can be applied as long as we have the foundation of a young diamond in the middle, ready to be supported. Because keep in mind, even in a corporate setting, your peers you're competing with on an international level, If let's say you've donated X amount of, you've donated 4 years, 5 years to a college experience. Now you're in the workforce. You're still a diamond in the middle. You have to deal with peers. You have to deal with governing bodies.
Mm-hmm.
It would help if you have mentorship from Beast Developmental and mentorship from your trusted advisor.
Right.
So we can flip this into the corporate setting also. And still apply the same Lean Six Sigma type principles to that young diamond in the middle. So there's so many areas we could branch off into with this, and we will as we grow. And that is how our future is laid out right now. So we're being approached with a lot of different opportunities. And once they see this podcast, they're going to wonder who are those guys at the top. Pretty soon, y'all gonna have to get some sport coats and some suits because because I'm gonna be dragging y'all too, kicking and screaming. Oh, that's Bryce and Jaron, man. You know who that is. There's the link over there. Go find out who that is. They got a podcast that's popping. All right. So but that's it. I mean, there's so many things that I want to do and I'm going to do.
Yep.
And if I leave this earth tomorrow, the bottom line is, what have I done? I did my best to try to put everybody on that I could.
Yep.
I didn't try to tear anybody down along the way. I made some friends, I made some enemies, but you know what though? At the end of the day, I applied the principles that I've known to be true to my heart, that were proven, battle tested, tried and true. And I think my principles can be transferable in either frontal, flanked, or fragmented ways. So it's all in what you want to get out of it.
Wow.
If you want to use this as a springboard into, finding your own inner power when you deal with people or deal just strictly with yourself, then feel free, man. Feel free to find that and just have fun doing it. It's all I ask.
Love it. So for the people that want to, of course, reach out and benefit from, Beast Developmental and get involved. How do you recommend that they get in touch? Through the website, social media? Can you just give your social media and website and everything?
I would recommend that they reach out through info@beastdevelopmental.com. We'll have the links posted.
Yep.
And I look forward to the feedback from those who watch the podcast. And Beast Developmental is exactly what it's presented to be. Yep. It's not smoke and mirrors. It's from my heart. Like I said, I operate with clean hands, and I just want to see. I wouldn't say. I want to see the positive that comes in 2021. I want to see that comes from Beast Developmental and into the years to come. I want to establish a firm foundation of positivity with solutions-based approaches to real-world questions in real time.
Before we go, we always ask our guests, is there a quote or a mantra that you live by and want to share with the listeners?
Off top, let me see. We made reference, Everest hit me with a question the other day. We were prepping for something. He made reference to, I think, money, if I'm not mistaken. And the reference, the thing that I would broach or answer with that is, I think we all are on the level playing field when it comes to money and influence, because we get the same 24 hours every day that everybody else gets. That 24 hours is not determined by the amount of money you have. But God has afforded us the same 24 hours to make an impact every day consistently. So let's not rule out the benefits and the power that the time we have to do the things we need to do can play into our current situation and our future situations. So let's give time the respect it deserves, but let's utilize that time to the best of our ability.
Love it.
Beast Developmental.
Love it. That's the best way to go.
All right. Okay. Well, I got you guys.
Definitely. We appreciate you again for coming on. This was great. Speaking from my perspective as a former D1 player and having gone through all of this information is pertinent. I'm pushing this message. I'm pushing this episode because I know it'll help a lot of people. But
good.
Thank you again for coming on, man.
Most definitely. Thank you. Thank you.